self-service. That's the way. Welcome to Soul Talk. Shine today.
Welcome to Soul Talk, friends, where spirit meets real life. So this is a space that I wanted to create for real conversations, for conscious awareness, and for helping everyone choose the light, even when life feels hard or messy or complicated or uncertain, even when you're struggling. And I'm really, really excited to be here. So thank you all for being here. For those of you that are new, I'm Dawn Johnston, and I'm really glad you're here today. So let's just pull our energy in and take a breath and get ourselves centered. I could use that. I'm sure you could use that. So just nice, deep breath. And as we do, calling in your spirit team and just grounding in this moment and in this presence and showing up open-hearted and ready to start. So first off, I just want to share with you, this is the first time we've done this live. And actually, it's the first time we've done this podcast, period. But it's the first time we've done this live. And we don't really know exactly what we're doing yet. So please be patient as we build this podcast and as we get comfortable and used to all of this. Very excited to have you guys here. I know some of you are here live, it looks like, with us. So use that chat, say hello. We have some of my team in there, as well as some beautiful souls that are joining us live. And stay tuned for our heart to heart, which is the last 15 minutes of every episode where you can actually ask your questions directly. But we're going to dive into, I wanted to start with why I created Soul Talk. And, you know, there's probably a little bit of a story behind it, but I think that it's important to share that I really believe that we're living in a time right now where people are hurting. Humanity's hurting. People are overwhelmed and they are reactive and they are divided and they are separate from, and they're exhausted. And maybe you feel that way too. And I don't think this is because people are bad or wrong, but I think it's because there's so many people that feel disconnected from their inner knowing, from their intuition, and from their heart. And so I created Soul Talk because it's a place where I didn't want to come in and just teach. I wanted to share. I don't want anybody to feel judged. I'm not here to tell you what to do or how to live your life, but I am here. And one of my roles has always been, my entire life has been to offer maybe a different perspective, to help people pull within themselves, to offer a spiritual lens, if you will, for what we're experiencing here in real life. And so Soul Talk really exists because I believe that life is always offering us opportunities to learn and opportunities to grow and opportunities to heal. And I think a lot of times people look at those opportunities and they feel like they're punishment or they're tests. But I look at them as invitations for expansion and for awareness and for insight. And so Soul Talk is here for that reason. And if you are somebody that resonates with some of the things I'm saying right now, and you're looking for that connection, or you're looking for that inspiration, you're looking for real talk and real life experiences, but seeing a spiritual perspective, not to bypass, but to transmute, maybe to shift perspective. So I'm just going to share a little bit about me. Some of you know me, some of you don't. You'll get to know me over this podcast. That's for damn sure. I have been walking a spiritual path for the last 41 years consciously. I write books and I teach, and I have been a mentor to hundreds, thousands of people over the last 25 years. I have been blessed to be a mother and a grandmother, to have a beautiful community of people, to have an amazing team to support me, and to create really whatever is sitting on my heart. I've been really blessed to build a beautiful brand and a beautiful business around our connection to spirit, and then how to live life for our highest and greatest good. So this podcast, as I share in the coming weeks and years, um, is really coming from a place of lived experience. And I think so many of us have walked through so many things. I certainly, I've walked through grief and uncertainty and powerlessness, and also leadership and healing and growth and awareness and pain and struggle and welfare, and so many different types of things, just like all of you. So, as I come on here, and one of the things that I've always been really intentional about in my work is to help people recognize that I'm not here to ever say that I've got it all figured out. But I am here to say that I've learned a lot of things. I have a lot of wisdom, and I have the ability to share, I believe, from a place of honesty and integrity and authenticity. So I'm really here because I'm willing to be present and to be honest and to be open with the experiences that I've learned, and to bring other people's experiences in as well. And I hope that if you're joining me, that that's something that you get excited about and that you look forward to, is releasing some of the challenge and the pain and stepping into more of the joy, because I believe life is meant to be joyful. And I believe that we don't have to suffer. Even when all kinds of craziness is going on in the world, I don't think we have to suffer. And I'll talk a little bit about that in a few minutes. Um, the song that I just played is the theme song to Soul Talk, and it really it just focuses on the heart of Soul Talk, which is soul, self, and service. Um, and the theme song said, "Soul, self, service. That's the way." And I love that line, and it really is, to me, it's a way of living. I think that soul and that soul connection, that's your truth before your training, before your conditioning. It's your intuition, it's your inner knowing, it's your connection to spirit. Soul is where we remember our divinity, our divine nature. And then self. Self is that human part of you. That is your emotions, and that is your nervous system, and that's your patterns, and that's your healing, and that's your communication. And self is a place, and I think some people struggle with this, but self is where responsibility lives. That's where we learn to react or respond, probably unlearning reaction and learning responding. And self is where embodiment happens. It's where we learn how to integrate the experiences that have happened and feel them. And then we have service. And service, to me, is love in action. I don't believe it's self-sacrifice. I don't believe it has to be fixing or overgiving or overdoing, although I've done all the things. But I really believe that true service flows through us when our soul is honored and that guidance from our soul is honored, and when our self, the human part of us, is taken care of. And so soul self-service, that's the way. When we um when we live from our soul, our intuition, our connection, and when we honor ourselves and our experience and our knowing, and then we move through the energy of service where those two come together, then the light and the love that we have within us moves through us, and it shines a light for others. And that is a important piece of not only my work, but I also believe of this podcast, is to remind people of their light and to shine their light and to shine your light. And I really believe that through our own divinity and that divine connection, that source connection, and you can call the divine whatever you want, divine, God, creator, source energy, universe, it doesn't matter to me. The God of your understanding. I believe that through that connection, we can really truly begin to acknowledge and to honor and to heal, because we need some healing, our humanity, because that that connection to each other, it allows us to have that humanness, but with awareness and with compassion and with choice. And oftentimes, um, when we feel like we're connecting with that divinity, I think sometimes we feel like we have to separate. We have to separate our divine from our human. No, we have to integrate the two. So your connection to spirit does not remove you from being human. It activates the humanity inside of you. And in today's world, we do not need more anger, more pain, more outrage, more righteousness. What we need more presence, and we need more love, and we need more remembrance of actually who we are. And I believe that part of my mission, and it has always been this way, it just shows up in different ways, is to support, to help humanity be guided by their spirit, their soul, versus their head and their ego, to be guided by the divine within us. And this podcast is, my intention for it is to help you to connect with that spirit within you, and at the same time that you're connecting to that spirit within you, to also honor the human you that is walking this world. And maybe part of this podcast is to help you to walk this world in a different way. And I hope that resonates with you, if you're watching this right now live, or if you're listening to it after. And I would love to hear what your feelings are about the intention and the energy behind this podcast and why I'm putting it together. I love feedback, friends. And originally, when we were starting to create this, the easier way was to just record them and put them up and let them go naturally. Put them up, record them, edit them, make it all pretty, and put it in a package. But those of you that know me know I'm not really about making things all pretty. I'm more about raw and real and unedited and imperfect, because I think that's what we are. And so as I was sitting yesterday, I actually went for a walk, and I was still trying to drop into how do I want to start this? How do you want to start this podcast? And it could have been about my history or stories about myself, or, things I've learned or whatever, but boring. So what I thought and what came to me was a memory of a story that actually is a Buddhist teaching. And so I thought I would share with you um, this story because I really think that this is something we want to start to shift. And so the Buddhist teaching is a story about two arrows, and it explains a lot about uh, the way that we as human beings are struggle or are challenged with pain and suffering. And so the story, I might mess it up a little bit, but I think I read it enough times to remind myself, hopefully. But there's a person that's walking along, and all of a sudden they are hit by an arrow. And when the arrow hits them, of course, it hurts, right? It's sharp, it's painful. They didn't ask for it, they didn't want it. Maybe some people might say they're in the wrong place at the wrong time, whatever, but it's something that happened. And that first arrow that hit the person, that represents um, pain and maybe some fear and maybe some energy of loss or grief. Um, and the first arrow hits because we're human. We're just human, and the human got hit by the arrow. But instead of taking care of the wound that hit the human, the person now begins to react. And they start saying things like, why me? That isn't fair. Something's wrong. They start telling a story. They replay it over and over again. They judge it. They resist it. They get anger. And that is when they're struck by the second arrow. The second arrow isn't about the pain. The second arrow is the suffering that we add to the pain. The suffering that we add to the pain. And so what the teaching, the Buddhist teaching says is the first arrow is unavoidable. Life happens, things happen, shit happens, it sucks. The second arrow is optional because the second arrow is suffering. So our humanity is where the first arrow lands. It hits us and it hurts. Our divinity, our connection to spirit is what helps us to stay present so we don't let the second arrow hit. And I just want you to take that in for a minute, because how often does something happen in your life? It happened. But then we think about it over and over and over and over, and we start telling stories about it. And we make it bigger and bigger, and we live it as if it just happened again and again and again for days or weeks or months or years or frickin' maybe decades, you guys. And I love this story because I think it's such a great reminder that life happens, shit happens. There are things that suck, and they happen to good people and not so good people. It happens to everybody because it's life. But what I want to focus on with Soul Talk is helping you learn how to feel pain, but not turn it into suffering. That is my goal, because I see far too much suffering. And not that I haven't suffered myself, but I think that's why I'm sensitive to it. That's why, as an empath and as a intuitive and working with thousands and thousands and thousands of people over the years, is the situation the first time hurts. Why do we keep bringing it back up? And so I hope that Soul Talk will be a place that can offer you the opportunity to start to look at some of those patterns and to start to listen inside of you and to be able to slow down enough to choose awareness over reaction, So, yes, we're going to talk about real life. We're going to talk about hard things. We're going to talk about fun things. We're going to talk about business things. And we're going to talk about health things. We're going to talk about all the things that life encompasses because that's what life is. And so that might be relationships, and it might be fear, and it might be emotions and intuition and money and health and all the things, right? But through the lens of a spiritual being, right? Through um, a lens that honors the humanity within you. And then what I want to do is at the end of each podcast. So that's really the focus of Soul Talk. And it will expand and it will grow in the ways that it's meant to. I know that that will happen. Um, and then at the end of each episode, I want to do something that we're going to call Heart to Heart with Sunny. And Heart to Heart with Sunny is the final 15 minutes or so of every episode. You have the opportunity, if you're joining live, then you can call in and ask your question, and I can actually take the call and you can ask your question. You can also ask it via the chat if you are on live with me. You can also submit your questions ahead of time so that, the questions I want to really answer are heart questions, um, questions that help you to heal, to grow, to have a different perspective, to expand from where you've been, and to help support you into maybe a direction that you really desire to go. And so those questions can really be anything. My initial thought around the heart to heart segment was kind of like Dear Abby. Now, some of you are going to be like, oh, yeah, I remember Dear Abby because you all are in probably my age range. There's some of you younger ones that are going to be like, well, what's Dear Abby? But Dear Abby used to be a column in the newspaper. It was very popular. People would write in and just ask questions about all kinds of things about life and get, I think maybe, I'm not positive on this, maybe somebody here knows, but I think maybe she was a psychologist or a therapist of some sort. But get a different perspective of their circumstance or their situation. So we're going to do this a little bit different here, and we'll actually do our first one in 15, 20 minutes or so, where you can ask your question and then I'm going to answer it. So these are not psychic questions. These are questions of the heart, human questions that everybody can relate to. That's what my goal is. Okay. So we've got the heart to heart segment as well. And then if you are here live, then that's where we're going to open that space up. But if you are listening later, then just know that you can always submit your question early and then have the opportunity for me to answer them. We won't actually ever know exactly when I'm going to answer them. But if you listen to each episode, then your question may be one of the questions that is answered. Okay. So that's kind of the outline of Soul Talk. And what I wanted to do, I see that we've got a lot of people live with us, which is super cool. I don't know how to actually be able to see you guys, but I can tell that there are people there. So that's cool. Um, what I want to do is I want to play for you. Some of you may have heard this already, some of you may not have. But I want to play for you the song, the Soul Talk theme song. I originally thought about playing that song at the beginning of each episode, but it's 3 minutes and 15 seconds. And I don't think we need to do all of that. But I did want to give all of you that are watching today live, and of course, those of you that are watching or listening to the replay after, I wanted to give you an opportunity to hear the theme song. So if you're watching, you will actually see a video that goes along with the theme song. And if you're listening, then you won't see it. But if you want to, you certainly could go to YouTube or Spotify to be able to, well, actually just YouTube to go and watch it. And so I'm going to play the theme song for you. I hope you guys enjoy it. I'd love to hear your feedback after. And if you are live, some of you are watching on YouTube and some of you are watching actually in the live format here, which is awesome. Thank you so much for joining. I would love for you to comment or make a chat just so we can actually see, since this is our first time, you guys, we're practicing here. So thanks for playing with us. So we can actually see where the comments end up. So give me a little feedback. Let me know what you think about the format. Let me know what you think about the theme song. So I'm going to play the theme song now, and then I will come back in a few minutes and we'll dive in a little bit deeper to Soul Talk, talk about a specific question that maybe you have, and dive into our heart to hearts. So here we go with the theme song.
25 years on this road, rewriting every story I'm told. Love from the inside out, that's what it's all about. So self-service, hear the call, rising to the truth of it all. This is Soul Talk, feel the light where your soul ignites. No more hiding who you are, time to shine, you're born a star. Inspire, light the way, impact your inner fire, that's a fact. This is Soul Talk, time to rise, step into your power, no disguise. Walk through shadows, found my voice, now I'm here to make a choice. Real and raw, that's how we heal. Heart-based living, this is real. Soul self-service, feel the flame. Step into your power, stake your claim. This is Soul Talk, feel the light where your soul ignites. No more hiding who you are, time to shine, you're born to star. Inspire, light the way, impact your inner fire, that's a fact. This is Soul Talk, time to rise, step into your power, no disguise. Light leaders rise up strong, this is where you belong. From the inside, watch it grow, let your brilliance overflow. World needs your light right now. Plant your roots and claim your ground. This is Soul Talk, we rise as one. Soul alignment's just begun. No more playing small or safe. Step into your sacred space. Inspire, light the way, impact. Live in truth, that's where it's at. This is Soul Talk, here we stand. Light leaders hand in hand. Light leaders hand in hand. Soul self-service, that's the way. Welcome to Soul Talk, shine today.
All right. Yes, and that's my goofy husband at the end. That pretty much was about perfect for the way that video ended. Chris did a great job on that. So if you haven't heard the theme song, I just saw some of your chats. It's hard to talk and focus on the chat and everything all at the same time, but I saw some of you saying, "Hey, yeah, this sounds like I think you said Lainey Wilson," and that's awesome. I love that, and I want to tell you that actually that song, Chris actually created the majority of that song I mean, she had to certainly guide it and direct it and put in all the different layers of music and tell it what to do. But that song was created with AI. And so it was a combination of a human and AI coming together with that song. And even the voices, yes, are actually AI. And so it's a unique experience to be able to create music in that way. And we intend to create even more fun music. I hope you like the vibe. If you do, and if you did like that song, it is available on Spotify and Apple iTunes and Amazon Music. So you can go and grab it in any of those places. And it's on YouTube as well. So you can listen to that song on any of those places and download it and listen to it because it's a great dang song, don't you think? Let's see. I think it's a great song. I love it. So I thank you guys for playing with us. And I know some people, are a little nervous about AI. And, this wasn't necessarily where I planned. Well, I didn't really have a plan, but planned to take the conversation. But I think it's actually a good topic right now because there's so much talk about AI and the good, the bad, the right and the wrong of it. And here's the thing, friends, and again, from maybe a spiritual lens, is polarity exists. Light and dark, heaviness and lightness, and that will always exist. And so there are certainly always circumstances and situations where if you are in a low vibrational state, then that's what you will experience and that's what will be created and that's what then you will put out. And if you are in a high vibrational state, if you are focused on love and light and peace and harmony, and you put your energy in that direction, whatever tool you're using whatever's within you just expands. And so certainly, yes, people can use AI for not good. And it has, we've seen that, right? There's all the chat bots and all of the hacks and all those kinds of things. Certainly that it can be used that way. And we can also use it for good and for light and for high vibrational opportunities and experiences. So I guess I just want to give you a way of maybe looking that maybe some of the fear is just the unknown, right? And the unknown is something I believe that we've been trained to be afraid of. It's in our programming, right? And especially if you had family members that were very afraid of the unknown, then you're probably even more sensitive to it than maybe somebody else. And um, I want to suggest that there's another way to look at uh, the unknown. AI is one of the unknowns. We think about the way that life is going and the things that are happening and the things that are shifting and changing. And that has always been and it will always be. And it's just happening. Just life is happening. And we can have it be one arrow or we can have it be two arrows, right? We can have the pain and we can have the pain and suffering. Or we can just say, okay, this is life. This is what's being presented to us. And how can I choose to find purpose and value and a gift in it? And one of the things that Chris and I did is we said, hey, let's create some. Actually, Chris said it. And then I said, yeah, for sure. Let's do that. Right. So I want you to think about this. The unknown, I understand that that can be scary. And you've probably had some times in your life where you're like, oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen. And you could probably look back on your life and think of 100, 1,000 times where you thought that or felt that. Literally, thousands of times where you thought that or felt that. But right now in this moment, it is very likely that you are sitting in some environment that's probably warm. You probably have some kind of connection to electricity. You probably have enough food on your table right now. And you probably have the things that are important to you around you on some level. But there was a day where you didn't know how you were going to make it. That's the unknown. And so, yes, we can be afraid of the unknown, friends. You can live your whole life that way. Or you can say, the unknown is something that I have some fear around. And I'm going to start to shift that energy into looking forward to exploring the possibilities that live in the unknown. Because here's another truth, both things can be true at the same time. Okay. Both things can be true at the same time. And the truth is that every possibility and every potentiality also live in the unknown. Everyone. Every possibility and every potential for your life's journey and experience and wellness and abundance and healing and relationships and um, wellness and wealth, it all lives in the unknown. It all lives in the unknown. And so, what if we weren't so afraid of the unknown, but instead excited about the unknown and the possibilities and the potential? And yeah, there might be some things you're scared about, and you can be scared about those. But if you continue to think about that and you put a lot of energy behind it, then I'm going to suggest that that's taking your power. I'm also going to suggest that that's starting to create some suffering for you. And is that what you want to create for yourself? Because I think so often we've been doing this for so long that this is just what we do, right? It's just, that's how my parents were, and that's just kind of how it is, and that's just what I learned, and so then I just do it. And friends, I'm here to suggest to you that we don't have to do things the way that our parents did. At some point, we have to say, I'm a grown up. And yes, I had an influence. Yes. And I also get to choose now how I'm going to see things. And if it doesn't come natural, then I'm going to learn. Then I'm going to step up. Then I'm going to read some books. I'm going to take some classes. I'm going to go to some workshops. I'm going to get some therapy. I'm going to go to mentoring. I'm going to find some tools that I'm going to um, receive so that I can live the fullest, greatest, most exciting, joyful life possible for me. And we don't have to just sit in a place of, well, that's how it is. And I want you to hear, I don't say this from a place of like, you know, um, never having experienced this. I'm speaking this, and I hope I'm speaking this into reality for all of you, that I am someone who has walked that, who has been through those experiences, who was afraid of so much in her life, who held herself back, who didn't feel good enough and worthy, who questioned worth and value for certainly the first 25 years of my life, absolutely. And on and off throughout that, until I realized that it was not moving me towards what I desired. And if it wasn't moving me towards what I desired, I'm smart enough to know then I need to do something different. And what I recognize is I needed to be the energy, and I needed to think the thoughts, and I needed to feel the feelings of that I desired. Right? I needed it needed to shift within me. It never happened outside of me. It wasn't that somebody else outside of me ever changed to make me feel more centered and connected to myself, to have more value. It was never somebody outside of me. It was never something. It was never a car. It was never a piece of jewelry. It was never a man. It was never a friend. None of those things. Now, did those benefit me? Did I enjoy that? For sure. But did that change who I was and change the fear of the unknown in my life by other people coming in or other people doing something? No, them changing never changed me. I had to change me. And this is one of the pieces that's going to show up a lot in Soul Talk. is personal accountability and personal responsibility. Friends, we are not victims. We are not victims. You may have been victimized. Yes, there are people that take advantage of other people in horrific ways. You may have been victimized, and that does not mean you're a victim. So we step into our energy and our power, and we learn and we grow and we move forward, and we don't let the arrow get us twice, right? We don't have to do that. We get to create the story, and it's your story to tell. All right. So I think I've talked enough about what Soul Talk podcast is. This is the first episode, so I felt like that was important. We're going to be diving in from this week forward with different topics and subjects based on you guys. What I want to hear from you is what topics you're looking for, what things you want more help with in different areas that you would like to hear some conversation and some sharing and some information. What guests are you looking for? I'm going to have guests once in a while, not often, but once in a while, that will bring in their information, and that may grow as well. Who knows? So please share in the chat if you're live. Please share what you're looking for, what you'd like more of. And also, we do have a page on my website. So it's schooloflight.biz/SOLtalk, SOLTALK, soul, meaning the sun, light, right? Light talk, because we're bringing in the light, friends. And so you can go to that page and you can actually join the podcast live right there. You can also put in your heart-to-heart question right there. And you can also suggest a guest or inquire to be a guest right there as well. We will likely probably have some other things that are happening on that page. But right now, that's where we're starting. So feel free to bookmark that page. And while you're at it, if you're on YouTube or any of the other pages, please share and like and all the things that you do so that we can start building and growing this. All right. So now we're going to dive in, guys. We're going to go into our heart to heart. So again, that heart to heart with Sunny, this is where, if you are live, this is where we're going to open up the space for you to ask the questions. I believe that there's a little button that says like call in or something to that effect. So you can push that button, and that's going to show me on my screen that you have a heart-to-heart question, and it will bring you on camera. So you have to be able to be on camera. If you don't want to be on camera, then don't push that button. But it'll bring you on camera. And then if you're listening later, again, just remember that you will have the opportunity to share your questions in advance, and then you can listen here in this space for your answer. And also just a reminder that when you're asking the question, you're asking a question that's on behalf of others, a variety of others. Okay. So try to ask your question, and I will answer it in a way that can help support many people. All right. So let's see if we can get this to work. So let's have some of my friends that are joining live. If you are joining live, again, you're going to see that little button. I think it says request live call-in. So if you push that button, request live call-in, then that's going to give you the opportunity to come on, and you're going to get a little one-on-one time with me, a little heart-to-heart time. And I want to make sure that we want to make sure it works, you guys. We practiced it before, but who knows? And I also, this is a piece of the podcast that I really think can make a difference, that can change the way that maybe you perceive things, and give you a little bit of coaching and support. Because that's really what I do in School of Light, is I teach and I support and mentor my community, and I love doing that. So let's see if we get somebody to call in. Okay. There's lots of people on here sharing. So thank you guys so much for all of your love. Exactly what I needed to hear today. I love it. Let's see. Come on, you guys. One of you share. Just hit that phone. Okay, let's give it a shot and see. Okay, my friend, hang on, because Chris is going to tell me to make sure I hit that double. Okay, there we go. All right. Hi.
Hi.
Do you have a question for me? On behalf of everybody else?
I know, right? Oops. No, I didn't realize I was going live.
You are. You're live right now. So see, hey, at least we know that it works, guys. That was the most important thing. We wanted to make sure it works, and it works. So that's great. So thanks, Janice. At least we
Sure.
now know that it works. You don't have to ask a question because I do have a question in here.
Okay.
But I'm going to answer that one to start with. And I have some questions that came in earlier. So I'm going to answer those as well. So I don't know how I disconnect you, but we're learning. So
Should I act up and see if Chris
let's see
disconnects me?
how we do this, because I don't actually know how to have you leave. Chris, do you know that part? Let's see if this is so good, friends. We so appreciate the fact that we are learning all of this live in front of all of you. And yeah, I don't see a way to be able to.
I can hang up.
Okay, Chris is going to figure it out for us. And Janice is boss babe below there. So that's awesome. Love it. Okay, and there she is. She's gone. Okay. So let's see. I don't show a phone symbol on my phone. It can't be on your phone. I know it sounds crazy, you guys, that you can't use a phone symbol on your phone, but it cannot be on your phone. You have to be in Chrome and you have to be on a computer. So in Chrome on a computer, then you can actually access. So I'm so glad that came up. Then you can actually access the call in. Okay, because you have visual. Okay, great. All right. And then I did get a question here from Buffy. And so I'm going to go ahead and answer this question. And then I'll answer a couple of the ones that came in as well. And if you have more, you guys, you can ask it this way, just in the chat, or you can ask it through the live, but you're going to be on camera. So, all right, here's the question. Okay. I feel like it would be helpful for many if you could provide guidance on dealing with current events happening in our world and or our country. Today, I would say the topic is ICE. Well, yes, let's just dive right in and make it super simple. Here would be my response to the things that are happening in the country. And this is not to minimize anything that's happening. But with the social media that is available today, there is a highlight on things that are happening in every second of every day in every life around the world that gets attention. And so my first suggestion is that there are terrible things happening throughout the world always. And what's happening now is I believe that people are using the terrible things that are happening to either justify one side or project wrongness onto another side. If you ever at any time in my entire career have asked me any question about one side or the other side, it doesn't matter to me in what realm you're talking about, whether it's political, whether it's medical, healthcare systems, education systems, the systems. What I will tell you is that I think there's always much more similarity than there is difference. And I think that many people that are in reaction mode, which is the majority of everybody, the reason that people react so much is because everybody is disconnected to their hearts and to their bodies and their nervous systems. I think that humanity on a large scale is disconnected to their to a healthy nervous system. So nervous systems are reactionary and they're constantly in reaction mode. And I also think that what happens is we take our lenses, whatever lenses that we are accustomed to looking through, and when we look at whatever it is, we can only see the lens that we're looking through. We're not willing to see anything different than what we've subscribed to. And I think this is happening across the board in all different areas of life. Okay. The ICE question specifically. People want it to be a easy black and white, right, wrong, good, bad. I think that if we were actually looking through our eyes of humanity and through our souls and our hearts, we would actually be able to acknowledge that there are bad choices or unhealthy choices that are often made on both sides when we're talking sides. And not always is it one or the other. But we want to make it one or the other so that there can be a right and a wrong. And I think oftentimes, whatever the circumstance or situation is, two people are coming in and two people are acting from a fear base, disconnected, not regulated, not healthy space. And one reaction creates another reaction. And so I don't know why. I mean, I do understand that people need something to be wrong. And here is the point of my arrows is life is happening and there are things that are terrible. And there is not just one answer to any of it ever. There is not. I know people want it to be easy and wrapped up in a bow and this is wrong and this is right. But anytime, if you really tune in to a heart and you see people that you love that go, wait, why are you looking at it that way when I'm looking at it this way? And they're people that you love and respect, then what if it's that both of you are seeing truth and both of you are not seeing truth at the same time? And two things can be true at the same time. Two people could be both be responsible for not choosing and not making the best choices in a particular circumstance. And if I were to put my shoes in my feet in either one of, in this situation's shoes, I could see how either one of them got there. So it requires us to have a lot more presence within ourselves, connection to spirit, and a higher understanding that things are happening for our expansion and our growth and our healing. It also requires us to be able to embody differences, to have compassion, even in circumstances and situations that maybe you are not tolerable of. And so in this particular situation, what my suggestion would be is that if we started, and I've said this a million times if I've said it once, if we started to recognize that when we are in reaction, we are not settled within ourselves. We are not connected. We are actually disconnected. And we have a world of people that are using this, thinking they're connected, and not using this. And this is how we connect. And this is turned off if the people don't look in the lens or don't say through the lens that we expect, desire, or want to see. And that's difficult. It's difficult to see beyond your own belief systems, your own biases, and also when there are absolute um, um, reasons why you are being shown certain things so that you have a certain response, which is, from my perspective, been evident in life in all of these areas always. but it's so much more highlighted now because we can grab it and we can see everything that's happening all over the world all the time. So my response would be, go within ourselves, get yourself regulated, get yourself in a grounded, centered place, connect with your divinity, ask spirit, what is your role in this? And at least become responsive versus reactive. And then if you see the way that you saw before, then that's your truth and your belief. And if you have maybe a little bit of compassion and empathy, that's part of what's missing. And the reason that we can't have it is because everybody's disconnected from their soul, from their spirit. They're just not connected. So they're spending way too much time here, way too much time watching social media, media of any kind, and not enough time here. I hope that helps. I hope that answer helps. And guys, I'm not the end all be all one that knows all. But what I do know is I do know the energy of fear. And I know that it is ugly and it turns beautiful souls into very ugly. It turns beautiful souls into ugliness. And it doesn't have to do that. That's what judgment, that's what criticism, that's what suffering does. And so instead, we could actually choose to do it a different way. But it's our choice and we have to do it, which means don't let that second arrow get you. Okay? The circumstance is what it is. It sucked. Make the choices that you want to make, and then decide what you're going to do and move forward instead of then stay in the suffering. The suffering does not, whether people like this or not, friends, the suffering does not help anybody. It doesn't make it change. It doesn't make people heal. That suffering doesn't help. What helps is light. What helps is shining light, holding vision, holding love. That's what helps. That's what heals, not judgment and criticism and more and more and more anger. I don't care about the sides, guys. I'm looking from a high perspective, not getting down in the weeds with everybody. I won't do it. I won't do it to myself, and I won't do it to any person that's sitting in front of me, because it is unfair of me to do that to anybody. I don't know their soul's journey, and I'm not going to pretend that I do. So some of you will not like that answer. Understand. It's okay. Okay. All right. Gosh, that happened. That was a long answer. So there went my question. But you know what? I'm going to do one more heart to heart that was sent in. And so I hope you guys appreciate that. And please give us some feedback. Go ahead and comment, you guys. The reason I'm doing this live is because I wanted interaction. It would be a lot easier to not do it live. But I wanted to do it live because I want to be able to hear what you have to say. I want to be able to acknowledge where you're at. I want to have you be heard and be seen and be felt. And if you enjoy this, I want you to share it. Let people know. All right. Okay. Here's one more question I'm going to share. How do I more easily and consciously think, feel, and live from my heart and soul connection with spirit rather than my ego mind, so I live life to the fullest from love, not fear? Isn't that a great question after that? Thank you. I love your guidance and wisdom. Okay, this is a beautiful question. I think that the biggest piece, I would say, if you're wanting to live from your heart and soul rather than your ego and fear, is get into presence, into this moment presence. Okay. And when you get into presence and you take 3 minutes, 5 minutes, just to pull yourself into this present moment, and for me, I like to literally put my hand on my heart to remind myself and to connect with this I am, who I actually am. Not this I am, but this I am. So I would say presence, and I would say that plugging in or that connection to spirit, God, angels, divine, source, creator, whatever you call that. When I plug in there first every morning, it reminds me of actually who I am, and not who I am as Sunny the person, but who I am as a spirit and soul walking this journey. Because I believe we are um, um, human beings having a spiritual experience. Some people look at it that way. I believe we're spiritual beings having a human experience. I'm spirit first. And so plugging in, making that connection, calling in my angels and guides, acknowledging my source energy first and foremost allows me to come from the heart space. And that's always the goal. Always. Now, you might screw it up a few times. That's okay. Always coming from heart space. Okay, let's see. So, I want to see, just a note. I tried to push on the request live call in, and I'm on a computer, a Mac, and the button doesn't seem to work. Okay, that's great feedback for us, Alejandria. We're going to look into that and see what the issue is. I'm on a Mac right now as well, but I'm not having to push the button. So we'll have to test that. Okay, I got a reply from Buffy. I knew that. It's just sometimes hard to remember when surrounded by fear and anger. 100%. Absolutely. It is so hard to remember when you are surrounded by fear and anger. And then when you drop into that fear and anger, or you're surrounded enough by it, then that's all you can see and all you hear, then you absorb it, and then you become fear and anger also. So we have to rise above it in whatever form that is. We have to shift our energy and raise our energy to that higher perspective of knowing the truth. And when I say knowing, I'm pointing to my heart, friends, not my head. Presence has helped me so much. Beautiful. Yes. I requested and entered my question, but don't know what happened. Am I supposed to stay in the open window? Gotta run soon. Okay. In the open window. So I'm not sure, Mary. I'm not sure where you asked your question. Did you use the telephone? Because if you use the telephone, then that actually will ring to me and I can actually do it on live. Now, I'm not going to take any more live now because we're over time, but if you can just give us a clarity on that so we can make sure we check that out for next time. And again, as reminders, friends, you guys can go in and put in your heart-to-heart questions. Like you can go right now, go to schooloflight.biz/SOLtalk and put in your questions. So I have them because that's the one that I just did. And then you can join here too. And we knew we'd have a few things to figure out. So this way we'll be able to figure them out. Okay. She said, I'm on a computer and use the request for live call in. Okay. And what kind of computer are you on, Mary? Just let us know so we can ask that question. Okay. Okay. So she's on a PC. Okay. So I'm going to let you guys go back and forth in the chat. All right. So you guys, let me just real quick. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I so appreciate it. I appreciate you being here and being with me today. I appreciate you showing up and choosing presence, because I'm assuming that you are if you're here, and choosing awareness. We are going to be here every Tuesday at noon Mountain Time. So we'll be here at the same time, same space. We'll have a few more of these things figured out by next Tuesday. And if this resonated with you in any way, please like or follow or subscribe or share, depending on what platform you're watching. It's on YouTube. That's really the easiest source, is YouTube. So if you are on YouTube, please like the YouTube channel, share that, comment, let us know that you enjoyed it, because that'll help this message reach the people who need it. And that's why we're here. So for today, guys, what I want to just end with is a reminder to all of you. And that is that when we allow our connection to source, spirit, God, divinity to guide our humanity, then love becomes the thing that we're living. Okay. When we allow our connection to spirit, to source, to guide our humanity, then love is the thing that we live. I love you, my friends. Thank you for being with me, and I will see you next time.
So self-service. That's the way. Welcome to Soul Talk. Shine today.